Every day, we use products like microwaves and boxes of matches to make our lives easier. But believe it or not, these ingenious inventions that allow us to live out our lives hassle-free were not the product of trial and error, but were created entirely by accident. Herein, we've gathered 7 of the most life-changing products that were accidental inventions. Chocolate chip cookies. It's hard to imagine a world without chocolate chip cookies, but the delectable dessert wasn't actually invented until 1930. On the day that the cookies were created, Ruth Graves Wakefield, co-owner of the Toll House Inn, was preparing some chocolate cookies for her guests when she realized that she was out of baker's chocolate. Thinking on her feet, Wakefield decided to chop up a block of Nestle semi-sweet chocolate, assuming that it would melt and spread evenly throughout the batter. Instead, what came out of the oven was the very first batch of chocolate chip cookies, and modern dessert was never the same. Matchsticks. In 1826, chemist John Walker discovered what are now matchsticks when he accidentally scraped a stick coated in chemicals across his hearth, and found that it caught fire. Walker's friction lights, as he called them, were originally made out of cardboard, but eventually, he switched over to using wooden splints and sandpaper. Teflon. You might not recognize it by name, but Teflon is a synthetic polymer used to make everything from non-stick cooking pans to nail polish. And though it's a genius invention that changed the way we cook, clean, and groom, the man who discovered the product, Roy J. Plunkett, did so completely by accident. The scientist was working at the DuPont Company's Jackson laboratory in 1938 researching refrigerants when he noticed that some of his gas had turned into white power. After some testing, Plunkett concluded that the substance was heat-resistant with low surface friction, giving it the perfect properties for the many uses we see today. Chips. One day a customer sent back his plate of potatoes many times and kept asking for them to be more fried and thinner. George Crumb, a chef at the Carey Moon Lake House in Saratoga Springs, lost his temper, sliced the potatoes insanely thin and fried them until they were hard as a rock. To the chef's surprise, the customer loved them and wanted more. Sticky notes. While working away, Spencer Silver, a researcher in 3M Laboratories, created an adhesive that was actually weaker than what already existed. It stuck to objects but could be pulled off easily without leaving a mark. Years later, a colleague spread the substance on little pieces of paper to mark his place in his choir hymn book, and the idea was born. Shatter-Proof Glass. One fateful day in 1903, scientist Edward Benedictus was working in his lab when he accidentally knocked over a flask. However, when Benedictus looked down, he noticed that rather than breaking into a million little pieces, the glassware had actually just cracked slightly while maintaining its shape. After looking into it a bit further, the scientist learned that what had kept the glass together was cellulose nitrate coating the inside of the glass, and thusly, safety glass was created. Pacemaker. Wilson Greatbatch, an electrical engineer, was conducting research on hypothermia, and was trying to use radio frequency heating to restore body temperature. During his experiment, he realized if a heart stopped beating due to cooling, it could be started again by artificial stimulation. This realization led to the pacemaker. Hope you liked the video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe.